Hello, welcome to Exotic Gardening with me, Yorkshire Kris. You find me here in the nice warm greenhouse because it's pretty cold outside. It's below average for the end of April. So I'm inside the greenhouse, and in this video I'm going to do you an update on all the seedlings, all the seeds that I sowed just a few weeks ago, and the other plants in the greenhouse. So you'll see when we look at the individual seed trays and cells that some have done pretty well and some have really struggled. And why is that? Well, it's a combination of the seed sowing compost that I used or I made up and the actual pots that they're in. So some are deeper, some are thinner trays, some have been on heat mats, some have been just on the benches, and the differences have meant some have germinated better than others, but pretty much all of them overall have germinated pretty well, but then some have flourished and grown pretty fast, and others have just sat there and have really not wanted to grow in the compost they're in. So we'll go around and we'll have a look at the different types of seeds and the different varieties, and we'll see, compare and contrast, and see which ones have done well and which ones have really struggled. So here we have some aeonium seedlings, and as you can see, they look okay. Overall, most of them are growing well. They're still very small. I transplanted them into this gritty mix a few weeks ago, and you can see some are showing some new growth and some are just sitting there. But with a bit of water, a bit of heat, a bit of time, these should grow nicely over the next few months and make decent sized plants. But just over here we have a seed tray or modular cells of the electric daisy, and what you could probably see is not much growth. So these germinated really well, and all these cells had lots and lots of seedlings, and now we've got a few cells with quite a few seedlings in, but most have died off, and that is a combination of them not liking the compost either being too wet or too dry. So I need to think about the mix that I put these in, and probably they would have been better in smaller seed trays rather than these deep cells. But hopefully I can salvage a few seedlings and pot them up, and they'll grow away happily once they're out of this compost, which I don't seem to like. And that's the same here. We've got some marigolds, some African marigolds, and you can see very sparse germination, just a couple of plants in that whole seed tray. So that is disappointing. Over here we've got some cannas. These cannas have grown from seed. Showed that earlier with the boiling water method of germinating the seeds, and they've come through nicely and they've been potted up into these little pots, and now it's probably time to actually pot these on again and to give them a liquid feed as well. Next to these I've got some tomato seedlings, and these were looking terrible in the compost in a seed tray. I've potted them into these pots and they've perked up a bit. They are a better colour and they're starting to grow, so hopefully we'll have some nice plants for fruiting in a few months' time. Let's go past a begonia here, that's doing really well, and also my plectranthus types over here that we potted on, and they're looking good. Got more trays here of aeoniums, and these are looking good overall. But here we've got a tray, should have been Mexican sunflowers, Stephonias, and as you can see I've just got one piddly little seedling here which looks rubbish, and you would put this into its own little pot by now, but it's so small, the growth on that is so tiny, the leaves, that it's really struggled in this compost. Here we've got some amaranthus which look fine. I need to get them into pots very soon. More aeoniums here that need to go into their own little pots. These have germinated over autumn and winter and now made decent sized plants. Here we've got some orach, which is a purple leaved vegetable or herb, and it should provide some nice colour in the garden, and it's something edible as well. And you can see germination across the seed tray has actually been pretty good, and the seedlings look healthy, so they seem to like this compost mix, so that's good. Now we'll move to the main heated bench where we've got lots of different seedlings as well as some potted plants in the corner, and we've touched upon these in previous videos and they're doing well over there. Down here I've got the Spanish flag, and these look a bit better now. They didn't like, again, the compost that I put them in. In fact, they looked more or less just like that one there, but they've greened up a little bit. I'll give them another feed. One's not made it there, but the rest have made it. I can see some green fly on there as well, so I need to go over and get rid of this green fly. But they'll be happy in these pots, and I may pot them up again, or they may wait a few more weeks to actually go in the ground from this size pot. We'll just have to see how they grow. Behind though, we've got disappointing results on the zinnias. We've got a few have germinated well, but in the seed tray behind we've hardly got any germinating. And again with this amaranthus, you can see a few there but not many, so they've not particularly liked this compost either. So it's about getting the watering right, and it's about getting the mix right as well between the coir and the soil-based peat-free compost that I mixed in, plus the vermiculite and the perlite. Here we've got the perilla, very small at the moment, but I'm sure they will grow quickly once it warms up and we get stronger sunlight, and we'll have some nice purple foliage plants. Next to that, I have some more African marigolds, and these are stronger plants, and these do need pricking out now into their own pots. That is a job that I'll be doing very, very soon. And something that's not done well is my tobacco plants. You can hardly see, so this is a tray of tobacco seedlings, and they are tiny. They always start off tiny, but they're just not getting any bigger whatsoever, so we'll see how they get on. Here we've got some more Mexican sunflowers. These look a little bit better, but they're still not great. They are struggling, so they're not really like this compost at all. These are more tomatoes that I potted on, and these do look a little bit better than originally when I put them into these pots. We've got cannas over here, so we've got various different cannas, and they're looking good in those trays and modules. And again, they'll need a feed. We've got the banana, the edible banana up there, which is looking okay. And I will probably look at that pot, see if it needs potting on, and I'll pamper that a bit this year to make sure that it grows well. And hopefully in a year or two, if we can keep it alive, we might actually get some flower and fruit on that. We'll see in the future how that goes on. We've also got the Persian shield, and that's flowered, and now it's producing some new growth on the ends of those stems, which is nice to see. So that's the hot box there. If we move around, we've got the shady side of the greenhouse where we've got the begonias, and they're looking good. We've also got some monstera behind, which are okay, but the green fly has been going at some of them, so it's deformed the leaves a bit and got some yellow marks on those. We've got a Musa sycamensis small plant as a seedling, so that's growing well. And we've got some Nanus palms down here. These are from Kevin Spence, thank you. We've got some nice Nanus seedlings down there as well. Very slow growing Trachycarpus nanus. In the middle here, again, more colourful foliage plants that we had cuttings over winter and then been potted up. Happy with these. And we'll just move through past the Solenstermum, the Iracine, Party Time, begonias, got Begonia luxurians down there as well. We've got another big Begonia luxurians up there, a bit straggly, but that will come back soon, looking good. We've got a tray of amaranthus there that's obviously been washed, been watered, and pushed all the seedlings to one side, but they've come through nice and strongly. And then it's time to have a look over in this propagator, if I can get past everything. And if we lift up the lid, in here we've got some ricinus that came through good, didn't take long to germinate. absolutely masses and masses of solanums in there that I saved my own seed. Some of the fruits went a bit mouldy, but they've come through and germinated too well, to be honest. I've got some more cannas in here, and we've got the cleome seedlings, which are very slow to get going, but we'll still get a few plants. You can see there's a few cleome coming through in there, as well as some more tobacco seedlings. Now I've just noticed over here, look at the green fly here. Absolutely masses of green flies, so I need to get on top of that. I'll wash them off, wipe them off, give it a feed. Hopefully we'll have less of a green fly problem soon when these plants get out into the garden. So that's how the greenhouse is looking over here. We've got some more ricinus in pots over there, which is looking okay. And then I've got my nice papaya plant, which has started to flower. I've grown that from seed. Got some very small flowers on that, so we'll see how they get on. And we've got some gingers, and we've got my Paragibea Sonka palm tree over there. Got the brugmansias, which are in leaf now as well. And everything really is itching to get outside. We've got to hold off because it's not warm enough for these tender and half-hardy plants to go out yet. So that's where we are in the greenhouse. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening UK. Join me next week while we're doing more in the garden.